now my honor to welcome to the stage probably the most niche celebrities in Utah at this moment. Your friends and mine, Ben and Ernie, the Budget Nerds.
All right. We're actually doing this live. Okay. Well, I'm Ben.
And I'm Ernie.
And this is Budget Nerds.
You are not alone.
That's right. That's right. And I was just thinking, that statement is more true today than it's ever been. And I love it. It's been so much fun talking to you all. Not through a screen, but actually face to face. And yeah, it's just wonderful. I can't believe this is my job. I do a lot of things at YNAB. Lindsay can tell you I've done everything. But my very favorite thing I've ever done is get on and talk to my friend for an hour every 2 weeks about the thing I like to talk about the most. So I just love what I do, and I love that you're all here to talk.
And I just want to say, y'all are my people.
Yes.
I've been a part of a lot of groups in my life, and seriously, no group is as exceptional as you are. You're so smart, good looking, funny. I mean, honestly though, like, you mean the world to me. I think the most of you. I really do respect you, and I love this community, and I just feel so lucky to be a part of it. So, thank you.
Wow. So, we were like, what should we do? Because we have half an hour. So, I mean, that's not enough time.
No, I was going to say, that is
that's
nowhere
enough time
near
for me
enough
to talk.
time.
But so we thought, like, should we just do like a Budget Nerds episode? But we thought, today's about the community, so what better way to honor the community than to bring on a couple of you guys and interview you about your YNAB wins, which I think is the best part of the podcast. So, Tisha and Katie, are you here? Come on. I'm going to do the thing. Come on down.
Yeah, come on down.
All right, I'm going to give you the mic, Katie, and you'll sit over here.
Thank you.
So, Tisha and Katie were very kind. I think you all got the email like, hey, you want to come up on stage in front of 200 people? And several of you said yes, which I was shocked by. But yeah, you guys have some interesting stories, and so we thought we'd share. So, Tisha
the
first.
The easiest yes ever. It's like a dream come true.
So I think Tisha first, actually.
Hello.
Tell us about what money was like before you started YNAB and how you how you found us.
One word, chaos. So yes. It was paycheck to paycheck. Money came in, money went out, didn't kind of know what was going on. And then I used to pay all my bills on the credit card. So I'm like, I'm spending no cash during the month. Great. Get to the end of the month, I'm like, where'd the money go? Why do I not have the money in my bank account to pay? And it was just stressful. So one day, I've been YNABing for 5 years now. So I doing a Google search, came across YNAB. It was just different, it was just, I'm like, okay, I've got nothing to lose. Like, maybe this is the thing. So, signed up for the 34-day trial, tried it out the first time, didn't really stick to it. It was kind of difficult to kind of get it to work.
Yeah, it's different.
It was different. But I was like, there was something there that was making me stay with it. So the trial ends. I email YNAB, and I'm like, hey, I've been trying this out. Didn't quite get it. Can I have an extension? Granted. And then that second time, it just clicked. And it's just been rolling ever since.
I'm so glad we gave you that extension.
Thank you, YNAB.
Well, things are definitely rolling because you sent in not one, but 2 videos. You're like, hey, here's one win, but
I love that you came back
win.
and you're like, actually, I have another win.
Yeah.
You sent us 2 videos.
So. It did. And my wife had to send it in because I tried to do it with my same email address, and they were like, no, only one submission. So I'm like, you need to do it. But kudos to my wife for, there's probably 20 takes.
Well, I was wondering why there were different names on the videos. I was like,
that's
what?
funny.
Oh, okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah, so that's how it went. So thank you.
Well, why don't you share the first win? You paid off student loans.
Yes. So thank you. So I graduated many, many moons ago, and I was paying on my student loan and I had done the full amortization, so it was 20 years, I think, and just paying it. I was just like, I'm never going to pay this off. Like, it's just going to be this thing that was going there. So at that point, we had used YNAB for a couple of years, and we paid off credit line, we paid off our second car, and I was like, okay, next is the big thing going to be the student loan. And so I was like, let's take a little break. So we're just working the steps, going along. And then one day I'm like, we almost have like extra cash to pay off this loan. Like, it just hit. Like, we weren't making a conscious effort, but by doing the steps, it was like, hey, like a couple more months and this thing's gone. And it's just 8 years early, done, last payment. I got my letter.
All right.
Yeah.
Way to go.
Thank you. That letter is framed. The day that National Student Loan Service Center was like, thank you, you've paid us. And it was just wild. And it was just working the steps, like not even consciously kind of trying. We're like, yeah, we'll gear up to it, but working the steps. So
I mean, honestly, that is wild. Like, from thinking you're never going to pay it off to 8 years early.
yeah. And it's just like, the money's there. Like, and then it was like go time. I think we needed a couple other thousand, and it was just like go time. And it was gone. Best day.
That always happens where like somebody's like been working on this debt for years, and then there's like a few, like just like a couple thousand left, and they're like, okay, let's find all the money.
Yeah, where can I wham from? Say, emergency fund will pay you back.
Yeah, yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Cool. You have another win about getting a month ahead.
I do. And so once all the debt was gone, then I was like, okay, let's get a month ahead. And when I started YNAB, that was just mind-blowing. Like, how can we have so many thousand just in the bank, ready to go? But once we had done everything else, it was just like, okay, it's go time. And how we started it was just little things. So utilities, phone bill, and just working up. The biggest thing was the mortgage. And it was just working the steps and just seeing the balances grow. And then you get to that point where it's like, everything's funded. I'm like, holy moly, we did it. We are those people that I saw. Those people are now us. I'm like, we can do anything. So for anybody working there, when you get there, it is game changing. You're going to love it. So just keep working the baby. It will happen. So.
And another really important question here. Holding category or straight to next month?
Next month funds.
Oh.
It is
one of my people. I love it.
We just have it in a category in the end of the month. Crack open the laptop. All right, let's do this. Best 2 minutes of my life.
Yep, it's pretty good. I get it. We get it.
There's nothing like it.
It's the best. Yeah.
It's the best.
So those are my wins.
2 minutes of my life. I love it. Well, Katie, why don't you tell us about how you got into one?
Yeah. I have a really variable income. I came up here today from Southern California. I live in LA, which is a crazy expensive place to live. Don't live in LA. You can't afford to live. And I teach ballet there. I've been teaching for many years. And I'm also an actor, which means I also work in a restaurant. And I never know how much money I'm going to have at the end of the month. And I had moved apartments in 2020. Everything was falling apart. I didn't know what was next. And like the last day of the month, I looked at my bank account and there was money in there. And I thought, I don't know what this number means. I don't know what this is enough for. I don't know what's coming. And it was just this constant state of stress and worry and guilt with every little thing. Like, should I buy a coffee? What if I lose my job? Like that, I had this mismatch of little steps not adding up to big things. So I knew I had to have some way to control money, and I didn't have a salary that would let me plan the way a lot of other budgeting plans tell you to do. And somewhere I came across the idea of zero-sum budgeting and very quickly found YNAB. And the second I started, I was like, this is what I have been looking for. I can see it and understand how to plan and get ahead with my money. And that was 3 years ago, and it's the most used app on my phone at this point. So
I love it. Yeah, that's huge, because I feel like so many people with variable income just feel like they can't plan their spending because they don't know what their income's going to be.
Yeah.
But you can. You just got to do it a little different.
I keep telling everyone I know, you can. plan.
Did you have a strategy for trying to plan pre-YNAB
I
with variable
had
income?
tried. It was usually just being overly cautious, honestly. I was lucky. I always, lived within my means, and I was careful and intentional with my spending, but none of my dollars had jobs. I was just, hoping, and even a trip like this to come be with my people and do something fun like this I wouldn't have done before, because I would have thought, well, that's wasteful, or what if anything happens? What if I, lose my job? What if I wouldn't have taken an opportunity like this. It's because of YNAB that I get to come be with YNABers. So,
wow.
Yeah.
Do you remember at the beginning of YNAB where spending started to feel guilt-free?
Yes, it was absolutely being a month ahead, because I knew I had that 30 days to make a decision and make a change. And then that became 2 months ahead. And that emergency fund became, well, that's 3 months ahead if I use the actual numbers. And it was knowing that I had time to pivot and make changes. If something changed radically in my life, I had more and more time to adapt to those necessary changes. And it gave me the chance to be bolder and enjoy my money and enjoy setting aside money, maybe not spending it because I knew it would add up to something that I really wanted. And it there's the quote we probably all know about, like, living the life you have imagined. And being able to control and understand my money is what allows me to do that. I was getting emotional listening to Todd speak, because it really is true. It totally changes, I think, the sense of freedom and joy that most of us have in our lives, being able to make those choices. So
There's something you said there that let you be bolder.
yes.
That's exactly what we want, because you were anxious because of your variable income, there was like less of Katie in the world.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And now you can express yourself, who you are, because you feel confident.
Yeah.
And the world's better because of it.
Yeah.
Not just you. Everybody is. So it's a wonderful thing.
All right, now your YNAB win.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy.
It is a little crazy. I was saying earlier the idea of, like, the what ifs, which I think brings a lot of us to YNAB. Like, what if the unthinkable happens? How are we able to, arise to these challenges and adapt? And I mentioned I live in LA, and last year, I walked out of my apartment and went to get in my car, and there was a pile of glass on the street, and my car had been stolen. And everything in it. And I froze. And I'm like, this is one of those. But this is one of the what ifs. It has now happened. But I immediately, I had a moment of panic. I cried for like 1 minute. And then I went, I know how to handle this. I know I have funds. I know I have a strategy. So I was able to move through having my car stolen, just the process of insurance and the rental car and everything that goes with that because of YNAB. And the most amazing thing about this, which I didn't get to tell you guys yet because the video could only be a minute and it cut me off, was that what saved me was memos and notes. I'm a real memo person in YNAB. Yes.
True budgeter. I love it.
I write everything down. If I go to dinner, I write down who I went with. It's like a little diary.
I love it.
But I truly had in my car category, I had that my VIN number was in there. In my insurance category,
Wow.
I had down all my insurance information. When I'm a real nerd, because when I put gas in my car, I put the mileage note in. Yes, and
You are
so
blowing my mind right now. That's so great.
when the police came to help, they start asking you all those questions, and that's the kind of thing where if anything like this had happened prior, I would not have known. It would have been panic. I don't know. I have to look it up. I have to get in my email. I have to find the document. And I was like, oh, it's here. I had it all in YNAB.
They had to be shocked.
He finally goes, how are you doing all this? How do you know this? Yeah. And I was like, if you really want to know, I can tell you. But so that was the greatest. And then on top of that, I was able to, because the prior car, I had a loan on that vehicle, which thankfully insurance then closed out and covered. But I had been saving, knowing I would really, really love to get a car in cash. And it's a 97 Camry, but I bought it in cash. Yes. And that is one of the greatest feelings too, to go into this new season of life with no debt at all, to have a car that I own that is really reliable. It's a dream come true to be able to make those changes with YNAB. So that's my win. And write notes, write memos.
Yeah, that's the takeaway from here.
I'm so glad memos came up at this fan fest.
They're my favorite.
Where's Jana Lee? Are you here? So we did an episode about memos, and I was like, we had talked about doing memos, and
I remember the episode.
I know,
I was represented.
And I was like, I just don't know. I don't know if there's much to talk about. Jana Lee wrote in an email to us, and she was like, I have 10 things to talk about memos. And it was like, oh, okay, well, we have to do it now because she wrote the episode. So thank you, Jana Lee, for that. Anyways, awesome story. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you.
Is there anything else you want to ask?
No, I just thank you both for sharing your stories.
Yeah.
I love hearing those wins. So
Thank
thanks,
you
Katie.
so
Thanks, Tisha.
much. This is so much fun.
Give them a round of applause, yeah. Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
This is great.
Thank you.
Thank you for everything.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.